The last and most awesome, silly story of all. Pretty soon, everybody in this room is about to be teenagers. And there's a lot of shifts that happen with your life. There's a lot of things that happen, and right now you're wanting to grow up. See, when we're young, that's one thing that we just want to do so quickly. You can't wait to be in junior high. You can't wait to grow up. And so what I want you to know as you listen to this story is what not to be when you grow up. About what not to do when you're trying to get to where you want to go. It's okay to grow up as long as you're real, as long as you're who you are. But stay who you are today. Don't try to fit in. Don't try to put yourself in a different position that makes you feel uncomfortable. Who you are right now is the most special person you could ever be. And this story will help you understand that. This is called Stanley the Hen. Stanley the Hen is a teen chicken. This truly is the most awesome chicken story that you've ever heard. Yeah, I said chicken story. What? You ain't never heard chicken story before? This is all about my cousin Stanley. And she is flat crazy. But I think her story might be able to clarify just how crazy we can all become when we think acceptance is important and we all lose sight of who we really are. See, Stanley was my mother's brother's daughter, and they had a lot of money. Well, Mom said not much, but, they acted like it because it was always fun to visit them. They had everything. They lived in a really nice chicken farm and a really great barn, and it was nicer than most houses. In May, when school was out one year, we took a family trip up there for the whole summer. They lived somewhere in Winnipeg, somewhere up in Canada, and people came from miles away just to see these hens lay amazing large eggs. Yeah, I kind of thought it was stupid too. But my mom and dad, they made me go, and it was like a family vacation thing, and they said, it'll be educational. Family time is what was important, they said when we all went. Woo, family time. I fought with my brother the whole way because he wouldn't leave me alone, but I can't stand that whole pecking order thing anyway. So anyway, not to get off track, but these weren't ordinary chickens. They had TVs, PlayStations, iPods, iPhones, all kinds of things that were just totally tight. What kind of chickens have iPhones? Seriously? They would sit in their nest and lay eggs bigger than any eggs that you've ever seen. And I'm thinking at that moment, I'd be in this family in a heartbeat if I could have everything they have. I mean, my parents were hardcore. They named me Tyson. Tyson! You heard me. You think that maybe helped with my self-esteem issues? Not. You wouldn't believe the jokes that I had to put up with growing up. Geez, Tyson, you're yummy. Why don't you just go dip yourself in some ranch dressing, Tyson, you nugget? Yep, it was pretty bad. I guess naming your kids messed up names might just run in the family. See, my cousin, the crazy chick, they named that poor girl Stanley. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't name a chick Stanley. Who does that? I think our parents sat around eating way too much corn, and somehow they decided to totally mess us up and give us the craziest names ever. My cousin, she was different than others, and she didn't fit in. First of all, she was kind of thinner chicken, not too plump. One of those things that most laying hens are, plump, not her. She was skinny. Second of all, she had the longest legs and danced and sang everywhere. The hen house is usually quiet, so that wasn't the best either. And topping it off, The poor thing had a whole family of Great Laying hens. She was told every day how great they were, how nice and fat they were, and how well behaved they were, blah, blah, blah. Why can't you be more like them, Stanley? She was pecked on quite a bit. And I can't stand bullying, but that's probably because I went through it, and it's just not easy. Chickens can peck, and it just gets old. I was a senior at Chicken Leg High, and she was a freshman at Crispy Thigh North. Now, my other cousins, Stanley's sister, were pretty cool dude. They tried to support her and tell her how great she was. I heard one of them say, "Hey, don't get upset, sis. I promise someday you'll lay eggs just like this." Yeah. Well, I saw Stanley's eggs. They were pretty small. It was like telling me that I'm going to play NBA basketball. Fat chance. But at least they were being supportive. You know what I like most about my cousin? Not only was she funny, but she would laugh at her sisters and say things like, "Give me a break. I'd have to lay 50 eggs just to bake a small cake." She cracked me up because she had a mind of her own, and she hated her nest, and everyone around her thought she was some kind of pest. Kind of reminded me of the fact that I could be that way as well sometimes. I push issues and I push issues, even if I know it's not going to get me anywhere. Or the fact that I can get disrespectful and act like that sometimes, I don't even care. But our family, they never gave up on her. They just kept telling her that they knew that she could do it if she just sat in her nest and put her mind to it. I'm telling you right now, this chick didn't sit still at all. She said, "I've been cooped up. It's like being in jail." And I don't know how she would know because, I don't think there's actually a jail for chickens, but that's what she said. All I know is she was one cool chick to hang out with. She danced around, sang, told jokes. When she was asked to stop, she would sit down and snack on junk food and pop. She'd play Xbox and make me laugh so hard. Sometimes I'd almost wet my feathers. Sometimes she would go out of the barn and walk around the farm, but when she didn't get back by her curfew, she would be in a ton of trouble. She thought for a 15-year-old a curfew should be midnight, but her parents said, "Nothing ever good happens after midnight." Yeah, okay. Her parents said that if she wasn't home by that time, they would worry. But come on, she's a chicken on a farm. But every chicken has their rules, right? Well, one day my cousin and I were watching TV, and out of the blue, she went cuckoo. She lost it. She said, "It was something that I heard." I had no idea why she was flipping out, but she said, "Do you hear that?" I was just sitting there laying an egg, but she said, "I heard on Channel 5, Winnipeg, that laying hens are important, but according to a news source, the best chickens of all are that of the main chorus." Excuse me? Her feathers got all ruffled a bit, and she started throwing the strangest of fits. She said, "That's it! I want to be the best I can be, and laying around here all day just isn't for me." Then she looked at me and said, "I don't want to have my eggs scrambled and beaten. I was put on this earth to be fried, cooked, and eaten." I looked at her and said, "Are you kidding me?" Now, I have been to tons of places and I've seen some crazy things, but really? My crazy cousin just informs me that she wants to be eaten and I'm not real sure what to do here. So I decided no matter what, I was going to help her work through this. Well, that wasn't easy, let me tell you. Especially when she looks at me and says, "I will be a chicken dinner and the kind of person others see as a winner." Seriously? Getting eaten isn't what I really consider a winner, but I couldn't get through to her. She wasn't listening to anything that I said that would try and help her. How far does one go to prove something like that to somebody? is it really proving anything? Personally, I think what's stupid with us is that we think it's actually making us cool when it really is destroying our future. I mean, I know about popularity and acceptance, but at what point are we ourselves more important than what others really think of us? She was out of it. It was so important for her to be something that she wasn't, that she lost it. Determined to make herself into a dinner and be the kind of chicken others see as a winner, she got out the roaster, filled it with water, and hopped in to let herself simmer. It's a good thing the pan was smaller than her, because she wasn't a very good swimmer. I grabbed hold of Stanley and lifted her out, and like a 2-year-old, she started to pout. Stop pouting, I said. This pan is for stew. You can't roast yourself in a pan that's smaller than you. But Stanley was stubborn. She wouldn't cower. She started the deep fat fryer and she rolled herself in the flour. Now, wait a minute. I know I've done some crazy things, but you should see a chicken all covered in flour trying to get fried. Who does stuff like that? That's like a friend trying to become somebody else instead of doing the right thing. Or anyone that intentionally puts themselves at risk by doing drugs or anything that's bad for you that self-destructs your life. Who would do that? So then my cousin jumps on the counter, right? She found this ready-to-bake crust. If you would have saw the look in her eyes, you would have seen that getting baked was a must. Now, I know I've heard things about setting goals and sticking to something, but not something that is detrimental, not something that is going to destroy your health. As her cousin and her friend, I told her, maybe you should set some positive goals. Oh, no. She turns the oven down low, that she hops in a pie pan, covers herself up with the dough. Yeah, right? Now, at that moment, I started to self-reflect. I started to look back at the kind of kid I was. I've done some crazy things. I haven't always been good to my parents. I've talked back. I've been mean to my friends. I started to reflect all of these things that I've done. And it took on a whole new meaning of what was really important. Her beak was poking through the top of the holes, and I could see her eyes. And I looked at her, and no matter how hard you try, I said, Stanley, you're never gonna be a chicken pot pie. Oh, she got ticked. Oh, heck if I won't. I will be whatever I want to be, and don't you ever tell me what to do, because nothing's gonna stop me, not even you. I started laughing, because watching someone self-destruct not only wears on you, but there's a time when you just have to worry about what you are doing, and that's enough. I wasn't the only one that was confused. It was a small community, words travel fast, rumors were going everywhere. The main question everyone had was how this crazy hen that could be such a pest would rather be eaten than lay eggs in a nest. And she was my cousin, and this was everywhere. Everybody was talking. I asked her, and she said, it's simple, you see. There has to be something more out there for me. She said, I have a chance to be great, I heard someone say. And I thought, well, this just might be my lucky day. What? Do you think you have to prove something to someone other than yourself? Oh, what am I saying? I've had so many people approach me about being mean to other people and doing bad things. It's not always easy to do the right thing. But in our mind, we have to choose the high road, the road that's best for us. Do we not think that we deserve that? I'm really no different than you, wanting to be important, I said. I mean, we all put ourselves at risk sometimes. We all judge people but she came unglued. Me being eaten isn't like anything that you do, isn't like anything that you've ever experienced. It isn't anything that you even know about. It's about being important, and it's just, you just don't get it. Now my own cousin doesn't even understand me. You know what? For the first time, I got it. I looked at my cousin and I said, I now understand. You don't want to be baked. You just think to be cool, that's what it's going to take. She kind of looked at me, but not really acting like she was hearing me at all. I told her from a distance, I always wanted what she had. I always wanted the things that she had in this world, and I always thought that you could be whatever you wanted to be. I said, you may not like your life right now, but you don't give up. You don't just throw in the towel. I said, there's nothing that you cannot do, but you need to do what's best for you. What more could you want? I said to Stanley. What's more important than your family? Your belly's full, you have a recliner for a nest, you have it better than some of the rest. For the first time ever, you have inspired me to want to be a better person. I didn't want to come here for the summer, but you have made me smile and laugh, and I actually have had a blast. And you just want to throw it all away? I don't want to wonder at night if sometime you're going to wreck and do something destructive. I love you, cuz. You're my family. I know you want to be great, I said with a sigh, but you already are in all of our eyes. You make us laugh when you dance and play games. Without you, he said, we would not be the same. Look, Tyson, I can't lay gray eggs like they need me to do. I don't like all the pressure, and I'm not like them. I said, well, you should try start being like you. I'm sure that speech was given to me once or twice, but I just never really listened. It sure made a lot more sense today. The next day, when she laid eggs in her nest, I held them up and said, oh my gosh, these are simply the best. It's surprising what support and caring for someone makes them think about. I told Stanley, I don't mean to be rude, but you think your eggs might be a little bit bigger if you maybe give up all that junk food? She munched on her Fritos as her eyes started sobbing, and she looked at me and said, maybe I'm just half Robin. Now my chick cousin has a complex. Said chickens are not supposed to be dramatic. When I took her eggs to the farmer, we measured and weighed the ones in her nest, and he said, I think I'm going to enter these in a small egg contest. So we did, and she won first prize at the fair. They had never seen eggs quite so rare. I had to laugh because until you met her, you hadn't met anyone like her. The next thing I know, she's clucking so loud, and you could see that she was very proud. I told her to stop talking and listen to what she's been taught. To be great, you don't have to become what you're not. And she said, thank you. I finally see that I can be the best by just being me. Well, that makes a lot of sense to me because so many of us try and be different than we are. And it's not fair to ourselves to try and be like somebody else. However, I will say I never thought she would ever see the light. She said she was sorry for acting so strange and ashamed that she went cuckoo. Because to this very day in Winnipeg, there is nothing that she would rather do. Now, I could think of better things to do, but really, before this trip, I couldn't list 10 positive things about my life. And now, with a new perception, I can list a ton. I have so much to be thankful for, instead of all of the negative things that I was dwelling on. If you change your thoughts, you can change your world. Now she sits in her favorite chair and lays eggs all day that are unbelievably rare. With a pop in one hand, that she sips, and another hand, her bag of favorite chips. And now people come from miles away, and guess who they all come to see? The different one, the one that's unique, the chick named Stanley. So you have to love Stanley. See, Stanley is like all of us. We all go through those rebelling stages where our parents just aren't cool anymore, and our teachers sometimes are making us do things we're not used to doing. They give us homework and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and all of these things, they start to pile up on us and life gets difficult. And that's what happened to Stanley. All of these things made her life just a little difficult. She was fun, and she danced around and snacked on junk food and pop, and she had all of these people telling her, no, your eggs aren't big enough, and you can't just run around and act like that. You need to sit in your nest and you need to lay your eggs. And they tried to combine her to something in which that's what chickens are supposed to be. I mean, that's the norm. That's what everybody believes that a chicken should do. She should sit in her nest, lay her eggs, and go about the day. But here we had a chicken that was not of the norm. And in life, that's what happens. Everybody sees everything that we're supposed to be doing as the norm, but who we are is our norm. Who we can be to this world is what we have to give. And that's what the cousin brought out in her, was saying, hey, don't think too much about what everybody else is saying, and just be you, because we love you for who you are. And somewhere in this world there's somebody that loves you for you. We love you for you. But the people that are truly there for you and truly support you are the people that you need to go to and talk about these things. Stanley makes it easy to do that. She's funny. She tries to do all of these funny things to self-destruct her life just as we do. So remember, every time that you go to do something that maybe it's just too tough, remember Stanley and think, if I were just to get through that, think about all of the amazing things to come. Just because she got pecked on and all of the extreme measures that she went to didn't work. When we do that sometimes, when we get in trouble in school, or maybe we flunk a test and we're a straight A student, or maybe we have a great family life and one thing happens and it just makes us angry, and so we come to school and maybe we're not nice to somebody, or maybe we bully somebody, or we push the buttons of everybody, maybe even our parents when we get up. But it doesn't work. Stanley loves herself all along. She loves the fact that she likes to dance and eat junk food and pop. That's why it's so hard for her to stop. She loves that part of her. But there's something more. After all of these chickens telling her this is who she's supposed to be, there's something more. And it isn't until her cousin, that one person, comes up and says, hey, look, that she finally starts to take notice of what she's doing. She isn't even aware. Sometimes we're not even aware. We might look at something and go, wow, how could somebody act like that or be that way? Sometimes they're not even aware. They're just living the way that they've been doing things for so long. So when somebody makes you aware of something that cares for you, just make sure you take a step back and look at it and say, is it really helping me? Is this really helping me improve in the game of life? If there's one thing that Stanley can teach you in this story, it's that you can overcome anything as long as you start to begin to love yourself. Money, cell phones, all of the things that all of these young people have to have, they're wonderful. Winning football games, getting straight A's, they're things. That's what they are. But they will never get you true happiness. It will be quick happiness, because then you'll always want more. You're always going to want more. There's always going to be a new cell phone come out. There's always going to be another test to take. There's always going to be another game to play. But when you lose, who's there for you? You. You have to find what's on the inside. You have to look in there. And you have to be true to yourself and love yourself for who you are. Don't be anything else but you.